the fuck?
6 years have passed since that horrendous incident.
Bioorganic weapons are a global threat. He started working with the rest of the world on the Raccoon City incident.
We do it.
Hello ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to another Resident Evil 8 video. So after my first RE8 video, I felt the need to fully develop some ideas I've had in my head for a new RE game. And maybe I'll make a little series out of this, I don't know, we'll see. So today we're going to be talking about Resident Evil Asylum. Now this idea I've had in my head, this idea kind of spawned from a game idea that I had quite a while back. It was actually, this is dating back right to like when I was at school, which was about 5 years ago. So yeah, I adopted this idea and then I made it into a Resident Evil game, and so yeah, here we go. This idea I went into in my last video for a little bit, like I touched really lightly on it. Well, not really lightly, I touched a little bit on it. So yeah, here we go. So let's start off with the story of the game. Asylum follows a young protagonist named Ryan. You don't really learn much about this character except for a few details here and there throughout the game, but mostly he's a blank slate similar to what Ethan was for Resident Evil 7. Ryan is an urban explorer, which is a hobby that has people explore abandoned places like old asylums, castles, and just empty houses really. You can actually find some of that on YouTube. Like if you just type it in, literally abandoned places, there's a ton of people that like go and explore that stuff. And also I did a wee documentary on someone that was an urban explorer, and I'll actually link that down in the description below if you guys want to go see that. It was actually for my college. But yeah, that's the whole urban explorer idea for the character came from that actually, so yeah. So Ryan journeys out to a supposed abandoned asylum called INNSMOUTH Asylum, which was owned by Umbrella until its closure in the late 1980s. When he arrives to the asylum, he's equipped with camera equipment and begins to vlog his adventure through the building. At first he struggles to get inside, but after exploring the outside of the building, he finds a small window leading into the basement of the asylum. Travelling from room to room, Ryan uncovers more and more fucked up things, such as failed experiments, mutilated corpses left to rot, and just more fucked up shit just left over from experiments in the asylum. Entering the basement hallway, Ryan is discovered by a strange monster who begins to chase him through the basement. The chase is soon stopped when Ryan runs into a man with a lab coat and is knocked unconscious. He later awakes in the main entrance hall of the asylum, tied to a chair. It is here when Ryan is introduced to Dr. Theodore Sullivan. Sullivan was the head researcher and director of INNSMOUTH Asylum and experimented on patients using the different viruses supplied by other Umbrella institutes. While working there, Sullivan began developing his own virus and tested it on patients, which resulted in the patients turning into strange monsters. These monsters still had the minds of the patients and still suffered from their own individual illnesses, which meant that each creature acted differently from one another. Sullivan explains to Ryan that he will be the subject of his latest experiment, and it is here Ryan is given free reign of the asylum, unable to escape. Ryan's first goal is to look for a weapon and find a way out. Along his horrific journey, Ryan will uncover the patients of Sullivan and other mindless zombies. Ryan will come to the conclusion that in order to escape he must play along with Sullivan's games and eventually find them. He will also uncover near the end of the game that Sullivan is making a new virus for the criminal organisation known as the Connections, which were first introduced in RE7. Now on to the most important part of any survival horror game, which is the gameplay. Resident Evil 8 will follow on from Resident Evil 7's style of gameplay. First person and a focus on survival horror. Players must navigate through the hallways of INNSMOUTH Asylum with great caution, as you don't know what might be lurking around every corner. Players will have to survive on limited ammo and their trusty pocket knife against the monsters of the asylum. Ammo is scarce, so the player must decide when it's necessary to use a gun, and when it is probably best to just sneak around the monsters. Sullivan has turned the asylum into a hell house, and is more like Spencer Mansion in many ways. There are rooms just filled with complicated puzzles, traps set up behind doorways like in the game Saw, and patient chambers filled with history and documents for you to read. The asylum is locked up tight, with different doors locked behind different styles of keys, similar to the Baker Estate and again Spencer Mansion. Keys to these doors can be obtained through the series of puzzles the game throws at you. The player will have to manage their health by checking inside their inventory, kinda like the old RE games and not like Resident Evil 7. And using herbs found around the place. In some areas of the asylum, the player must be careful because Sullivan has released a strange gas that makes the player suffer from hallucinations. These hallucinations can make the player see monsters that simply aren't there, therefore wasting their ammo, and also makes the monsters look a little bit more intimidating in something you would see in something like Silent Hill, let's say. Although the gas can be dealt with by using a gas mask found at some point in the game, you can also use special herbs that let your body deal with the toxins. INNSMOUTH Asylum is filled with mindless zombie-like creatures, lurking in the shadows. These creatures are similar to normal zombies but walk like something you would see out of the movie Grudge, or, again, Silent Hill. These monsters are the regular ones you would see throughout your travels in the asylum, and they don't really take that much to kill. However, there are many dangerous monsters to be dealt with. Each sector of the asylum has a major stalker-like creature similar to Jack Baker from 7 that can be stunned and hurt, but not killed, until each monster's boss battle. These monsters are referred to as the Patients of Sullivan. Each patient have their own illness that will be displayed through their individual appearance and actions, and they will be even more shown in the boss battles. So let's talk about guns, because guns are quite an important part of Resident Evil. I was about to say Resident Evil 7. This will be short and sweet. The main character, Ryan, starts out with a simple pocket knife. By the way, my dog is barking. 2 seconds. Fucking dog. Right, where was I? The main character, Ryan, starts out with a simple pocket knife, but you can find a handgun pretty quickly shortly after. Kinda like in every RE game, to be honest. The handgun is nice and simple, and does damage to the weaker creatures of the asylum. But against the patients, the handgun turns more into a pea shooter and does nearly fuck all to them. The shotgun is a weapon you always find after the handgun in most survival horror RE titles, and it is the same here. The shotgun takes out the weaklings with 2 hits, and does a good deal of damage to the patients, before and in boss fights. Although the shotgun ammo is rare to find and is usually hidden pretty well in the asylum. Later in the game, players can optionally find an SMG, an upgraded handgun, a 44 Magnum, of course, and a grenade launcher. So yeah guys, I hope you enjoyed this little idea I had for Resident Evil 8, or just Resident Evil in general, to be honest. If you want to see more like it, or want to discuss your idea for a Resident Evil game, please write down in the comment section below. I'll be making more Resident Evil videos shortly, so stay tuned to the channel. So yeah guys, that's me, and enjoy yourselves. So, bye bye.